No rush, don't be mistaken. I'm patiently waiting to be her patient. You see the money, yeah, it got me here.
Oh,
See, but this confirms that there's no discussion about this beforehand. I want folks to understand.
Yeah, no.
This is off the cuff.
And no, you pulled this off. You a bad mother. Shut your mouth.
I tell you what we're not going to do. You're not going to throw out legit top fours.
We hashing this one out. I'm going to tell you right now.
If Aaron was talking about foolishness, you brought up Mission Impossible 100. Never mind. This is a different podcast.
How long did we sit on the Matrix? How long did we sit?
Different podcast. Welcome back to the 2-Bit Cypher channel. It's your boy D Brown. Thanks for the likes. Thanks for the shares. Thanks for the follows. This one here is for the 80s babies. I just wanted to go ahead and throw it back a little bit. It's called Today's Kids Will Never Know. So it's just a few things from my childhood. Hopefully this takes you back. If it does, like, follow, share, subscribe. Let's get after it. Payphones. Payphone was another interesting deal. So the payphone, obviously, you had your house phone at home and you had to call home wherever you were. So you would either go to a convenience store, the gas station, the school. It would cost you $0.25. I think at first, when I first started using a payphone, it was $0.25. And then I believe it went up to 35 cents. And then if you didn't have any change, we had 1-800-COLLECT where your parents would pay for the phone call if you called 1-800-COLLECT. But there was a trick. So if anybody had practice or if you had to stay after school or anything like that, you could call 1-800-COLLECT and you would have to leave a message of who it was. So you call 1-800-COLLECT, message would say, you have a call from, I would always say, come pick me up. So, it would just be, you have a call from come pick me up. And you didn't have to accept the charges. So when you didn't accept the charges, obviously you're not going to be charged for that phone call, but that was the cue for your parents to come pick you up. And at that point, you pretty much just had to wait. That was it. It was come pick me up and you were sitting there waiting. So hopefully there was nothing going on. You didn't have to wait for an hour. There was just an ultimate level of trust back in the day, back in the 80s and 90s, because like I said, you had to rely on that, and that was it. And hopefully in 25 minutes or so, your parents would come pick you up. Otherwise, you'd have to call back, do the same thing, just interesting, very interesting times. The house phone. The house phone was the best. So that original rotary phone, that original house phone with the cord, you couldn't go anywhere. There was no privacy at all. You had to, and our phone was in the living room. So you were on the phone, no matter you were trying to spit game to somebody or whatever you were trying to do, everybody heard. And they're just listening on what you're talking about, who you talking to. And me, trying to be slick, I'm sitting over here trying to spit a little game. I got my grandma looking at me like, what are you talking about? I'm like, quiet, what I mean? Over here trying not to laugh. So we had that original rotary phone, but then we also had the cordless phone. So the cordless phone, you had a little freedom. You could go hide off, go get tucked off in a corner and, do whatever you did. But you only had a limited time. So them cordless phones only lasted a few hours. So, we were burning through them. We were burning through that couple hours that you had on that thing. We'd be talking in all kinds of places. You was on the bed, on the couch, you was down in the basement, especially if you really had to get into a deep conversation. But man, I just remember being just in middle school, that phone would ring. We had caller ID. Forgot about caller ID. That was, you could see who was calling you before you picked it up. So at that point, especially if it was, for me, if it was a girl you liked, you know what I'm saying? And you looked at the caller ID, it was whatever. It was Sarah. You was like, oh, here goes Sarah. You had to prepare yourself for that phone call. So you would get up, do one of these numbers. Like, mind you, we're in middle school here, so that your voice, you sounded like a girl anyway. But anyway, you would pick up that phone, brush yourself off. Hello? What's up? And that was it. That was, man, used to do that all the time, especially if it was somebody and they knew your voice. Like, why are you answering the phone like that? What are you doing? But, man, the house phone, the cordless phones, generational, some of the best times on the planet. Man, if you're from my generation, my era, that sound was all you needed to hear. That was our Facebook, that was our Instagram, that was our Twitter. That was everything you need. Back on that dial-up internet, it was the slowest thing on the planet, but it was life. AOL and AOL Instant Messenger was life. There was nothing better. To me, that's the pinnacle of my generation. That was the start of the internet. That was the father, the mecca of everything that we have today. I mean, we used to tie up the phone lines because it was tied into the phone line. Early on, that was it. So if you were on AOL, couldn't anybody call the house, couldn't anybody do anything. You were getting cussed out. I need to use the phone, especially you'd be in Instant Messenger was just like, texting, if you will. So you'd be in the conversation, your parents, I need to use the phone. You had to get off and you were hurt because you had to get off, and then you had to stay off because people were calling. I don't know. We were waiting on a call. So if you had a house full of people, that AOL time was limited. I'm talking, you might have got 20 minutes at a time, and that was it. But AOL, absolute champion of my generation.